What is the most sapphic soap out there? For TV shows, the easy and obvious answer is the L word. For soaps, if you're thinking Gap or other GL shows of that kind, those are a different beast to the daily soap that runs for years, so no. If you're thinking that it's All My Children because Bianca Montgomery lasted 10 years on the show with multiple love interests, you'd be wrong. You'd also be wrong if you were thinking that it must be one of the many Spanish-speaking soaps or telenovelas out there, or the telenovela The Rich Man's Daughter, with the not inconsiderable grand total of 7 sapphic roles appearing alongside 2 gay men. No, indeed, the one that I'm about to mention is gayer than that. The Gayest soap, and I'm asserting this based off the number of sapphic storylines and sapphic characters it's had over the years, is in fact from my home country of Aotearoa, New Zealand, and the show is Shortland Street.
Kia ora, Shortland Street Hospital. How may I help?
This realisation dawned on me when catching up on about a year's worth of queer storylines for the show recently, which took me forever. There is so much content to get through. Now, if you follow soaps, you may have been following the Nicole and Maeve relationship that's been going on for the last few years, and if you have, you've probably noticed that the show has a lot of other queer characters, many of which are sapphic alongside other identities like asexual, trans, gender non-binary, intersex, and of course, gay men. But you know my channel is about the ladies, so let's take a look at the evolution of sapphic representation on the show and see just how many there have been over the years. The number will surprise you.
Oh my goodness.
First, a bit of context. Shorty Street is a half-hour soap that airs on weeknights on TVNZ2. It launched in 1992 as one of the highest-rated New Zealand-made shows and a bona fide Kiwi institution. It centres around Shortland Street, a hospital in the fictional suburb of Ferndale in New Zealand's biggest city of Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland. It follows the staff that works there and their families, providing plenty of fodder for soapy antics, romantic entanglements, and all the usual fare you would expect from such a show. Shorty has always prided itself on being topical, diverse, and not falling into stereotypes with its representation. It's made efforts to integrate things like te reo Māori, New Zealand's other language, and made efforts to have a multicultural cast that reflects the demographics of New Zealand. And while it could always be gayer, better, it doesn't do half a bad job. And as I discussed in my video essay, Lesbian Representation on Soaps and Telenovelas, soaps have a special distinction of being able to change minds and introduce ideas that can have real impacts on a nation. Shorty Street certainly holds that position in New Zealand. While they had a gay character played by Carl Urban, who you may know from Xena Warrior Princess and about a bazillion other films, in 1993, it was 1994 before the show featured a same-sex kiss between the characters of Meredith Fleming and Annie Flynn, which saw complaints lodged at the Broadcasting Standards Authority. I'm assuming it's the first lesbian kiss on New Zealand TV, which was about 20 years behind the world's first fictional sapphic kiss in Australia on their soap, The Box. I talk about that in my History of Sapphic Film and TV, link in the title cards. I never saw this storyline, nor can I find any clips online, but from what I gather, it lasted about 4 months, and once they got together, they shipped off to live in Dunedin in the South Island. While we didn't really get to have much beyond a beginning, at least it wasn't a dead lesbian we ended up with. So, a good start, right? Oh, but wait.
But Laura. I'm in love with Laura.
The second sapphic storyline happened 5 years later in 1999. Popular character nurse Carolyn Buxton, played by Tandy Wright, who incidentally also played Gabrielle's niece in the episode Who's Gurkhan in season 6 of Xena Warrior Princess, was presumably straight with her string of affairs with men. But when lesbian Dr. Laura Hall arrives on the scene in 1999, her head is turned. They take their time building a friendship between the two. Caroline asks Laura to be a bridesmaid and then leaves her groom at the altar when she realizes that she's in love with Laura. Apparently, they got to make out, cuddle, and have post-sexy times covered in nothing but a bedsheet. How scandalous! But I'll have to trust the internet for that one, as no videos seem to exist of it. A few months of dating and Caroline sleeps with an ex-boyfriend, gets pregnant, and is suddenly not so gay anymore. She then leaves town. Laura stays around until the following year and has a relationship with a lady called Madeline Trent. Then Laura has a massive heart attack and dies. And that also signals the end of Madeline's time on the show. Another gap, and it was 2004 before the next couple made its way to Shortland Street, and while this storyline doesn't fare much better, I guess the writers were still learning, since then there has consistently been at least one sapphic lady in the core cast, which makes 19 years and counting.
With this ring, I entrust you with my heart, mind, body and spirit. Brides, you may seal your vows with a kiss.
It all started with Jay Copeland, the daughter of the established character of Victor Kahu, and her secret girlfriend Maya Jeffries moving over from Sydney. They were only meant to be on the show for 3 months, but they were so popular, they got signed on as regular characters and had a number of major storylines during their run. While Jay already had connections with other main characters on the show, over time Maya also had her mum and 2 sisters introduced, stitching both characters firmly into the fabric of the show, and she ended up staying 7 years. Their initial storyline revolved around Jay's difficulty in coming out to her dad. They have an on and off again relationship that has Jay sleeping with a man to get pregnant, which makes me think of that one time Kate tried the same thing on Coronation Street. I dislike both storylines very much. They have a civil union on Valentine's Day 2006, marking a first for New Zealand, but things don't last long. Jay starts sleeping with the guy who is her business partner, this time ostensibly to get ahead, whatever that means. And I guess back then, bisexuality didn't exist. Clearly. Meanwhile, Maya is desperate for a baby and gets pregnant, secretly using her sister's husband as a donor, and the fallout of that leads to them separating. Then Jay gets murdered in mid-2007 as part of a high-profile serial murder storyline when the actress Jamie Pasea Armstrong decided to leave the show. Now, while all that sounds rather dreadful, they were the first long-term sapphic couple on New Zealand TV and popular with audiences. While I have many gripes about lesbians sleeping with men and being killed off, to be honest, they were treated as equally as the straight characters. That is to say, gleefully put through the ringer for maximum drama.
You're beautiful and fascinating and kind. No, I'm sorry.
Thankfully, going forward, they decided to shed the lesbian sleeping with a man trope, invented bisexuality, and stopped killing the sapphic ladies. It takes a while for Maya to find her next lady love interest after crushing on a few straight women. In September 2009, along comes Nicole Miller, who is still on the show today, 13 years on and counting. She is a newly hired surgical nurse for which Maya immediately feels an attraction. After giving Nicole the cold shoulder because she's determined to not succumb to her feelings, Maya then finds out that Nicole is bi, making this a bit of an enemies to lovers storyline. It falters pretty quickly, what with Maya being a murderer. Yes, you heard me right. She shot and killed a guy, followed by a mental breakdown at one point, and that freaked Nicole out a bit. They reconcile and date for a while, but then Dr. Jennifer Mason starts working at Shortland Street in September 2010. Remember this face. Maya's head is turned, and when Jennifer finds out about the attraction, she starts to question her sexuality. They have a brief, anxiety-filled affair that ends in Nicole finding out and Jennifer fleeing Ferndale in February of 2011. It also spelled the end of Maya and Nicole's relationship, and Maya leaving to go live in Sydney, although she does resurface briefly in 2012 to try and win Nicole back as part of the 20-year celebration for the show. Nicole has her fair share of romances with men too, notably the on and off again relationship with Vinny, but in 2014 she ends up in a relationship with good friend Dr. Harper Whitley, who had arrived on the scene about 9 months earlier.
If only you could do for me what TK does, then life would be perfect.
Who says I can't?
I've never thought about being with a woman before.
Well, why should you? You like men.
I like you too.
But not like that.
I don't know.
The relationship was clearly there to throw a spanner in the Nicole and Vinny dynamic, but honestly loved this pairing to this day, thought it had lovely potential, and it ended up on my top 10 soap and telenovela ships video, link in the title cards. They lasted some 5 months. They were living together and even planning to have a baby before Nicole, who didn't treat Harper all that well, finally decided to get back with Vinny and quickly got pregnant, resulting in her child Pele. Ouch. Although Harper hasn't had any sapphic dalliances since, well, apart from a quick kiss with Maeve, she's now married to man-child Drew with 3 kids, one of whom is intersex with they-them pronouns. I think it's fair to say she's bi, because she totally kissed Maeve back. Nicole and Harper have gone on to be good friends to this day, although, well, yeah, more on that later. Nicole marries Vinny and they play happy families as much as a soap who thrives on torturing their characters can, which is to say there's lots of drama, and part of that comes in the form of lesbian Ruby Flores, who arrives on the scene in 2016 as a nurse on the plastic surgery division. She's immediately attracted to Nicole, who isn't having the best time in her marriage, goes there with her a couple of times until Nicole is discovered by Vinny, which naturally causes some serious issues within the relationship and leads to Ruby leaving Ferndale. More drama, and in 2018 2018, their marriage ultimately dissolves when Vinny leaves for Singapore and Nicole doesn't want to follow.
I can thoroughly recommend keeping your options open.
Sorry? Nicole likes the ladies too sometimes.
In 2019, Dr. Zara Mandel perks right up when she finds out that Nicole and Harper had a relationship. Despite never being with a woman before, she seems pretty gung-ho about giving a relationship with Nicole a go before X-Drama puts an end to that. And this is where the gay ramps up a notch or 10.
You were amazing.
Okay, Nicole, I really like you. And I'll wait till you're ready before I try to kiss you, but please don't ever put my name in a comedy line.
I really like you too.
In March 2020, a new nurse comes on board called Maeve Mullins and quickly starts a relationship with Nicole. They fall in love and things progress quickly. They move in together with their kids and get married 8 months later. I think Saskia, Maeve's ex and the other mother to Maeve's son Wilder, deserves to be on this list as she gets a minor domestic abuse storyline in 2020. Then it's at the wedding where Nicole's mother Leanne Miller, longtime character on Shortland Street, meets Maeve's mother, Rosalyn Mullins, and it's instant antagonism. But, you know, sometimes antagonism be suppressing something altogether different.
I hope she's not here to stir up any homophobic hate.
No, that's Dad.
She's just the mealy-mouthed enabler, is she? Charming.
I can only say that I'm floored that the writers got them together, and so the person who had harangued Nicole for years about being bi and had only just accepted it with her relationship with Maeve.
1 minute you're normal and the next minute you're signed up to the other team.
I'm bi. Deal with it.
Ended up in a genuine loving relationship with a woman who happened to be her daughter-in-law's mother.
I feel like a naughty teenager. So do I. It's great.
Wild, I tell you. Wild. After the initial later in life coming out, Rosalyn spends most of her time off-screen doing her florist business while Leanne sells the bouquets inside the hospital. They get engaged, break up so Leanne can cause drama with her ex-Damo, and then they get back together and appear to be currently in a relationship, although I'm confused about why they don't utilise Rosalyn more on the show. But things didn't stop there, because jumping back to 2020, just as Leanne and Rosalyn are getting together, the Ambo, Theo, a pan character, falls in love with Maeve when Maeve ends up in hospital, which is part of every long-term character's rite of passage on the show. Maeve wasn't interested, although it caused some momentary jealousy for Nicole. Nicole, who's been through accidents, stalking, a brain aneurysm, a dead baby, and other trauma, can't catch a break, because next she's brainwashed by an imposter posing as a counsellor, which was a whole storyline. Constant drama like this on the marriage, along with more mundane concerns like childcare, money pressures and the like, lead to a decline in their marriage over the next 2 years, and it culminates in Nicole asking for a separation. This is followed by Wilder, Maeve's son, being murdered in a storyline that includes a nefarious megachurch leader called Rebekah, who, it turns out, is a closet sapphic.
I've gone crazy.
Maeve, please don't talk like that.
Oh, I actually thought there was something between us, so. There was. Yes.
She and Maeve have an attraction that's playing out as we speak, and the chemistry is good and I like it. Nicole, sadly, hasn't moved on to any lovely sapphic ladies herself. No, she decides instead to destroy her friendship with her ex-lover and best friend Harper by sleeping with the man-child husband, Drew. This is after Harper left in a dramatic fashion in the 2022 finale while suffering from postnatal depression, being off her meds and going a bit loopy as Ferndale burned to the ground in an out-of-control bushfire. Not going to lie though, still think Nicole and Harper should be a thing. Oh, did you think that was it? Oh no, my lovely lady lovers. In 2021, we meet Francesca. Remember that face? Indeed, New Zealand is a small place, and Shorty likes to reuse actors. Here, Sarah Wiseman is playing gay once again, this time in the role of Francesca Telford, a surgeon who takes a liking to junior surgeon Samira Moradi. And while hesitating to act on their mutual attraction at first due to the mentor-mentee power dynamic, things end up going the gay way. It wasn't the healthiest of dynamics, and Francesca had a thing or two to sort out, but it was fun while it was happening. Lordy, that means at one point, there were 3 sapphic storylines going on at once with about 7 major sapphic characters in tandem. The mind boggles. And that isn't counting all the other LGBTQ plus characters over the years. Dawn has even had a storyline in 2017 where she questioned her sexuality, although she ultimately realizes she's straight. That didn't stop Demelza, an ex of Maeve's, from getting a serious crush on Dawn in 2022. There's at least another half dozen guest sapphic characters over the years that I won't be going into with you. So there you have it, 22 notable sapphic characters on the show. Soaps that have run much longer have done far less. I challenge you to find a gayer soap than this. And honestly, I just don't think it exists. If all of this has piqued your interest, check out the links in the description for playlists where you can go and watch most of the storylines.